Hello, Marco. Thank you for accepting the invite to have this interview with Markelitics. We're really proud that you're here with us today. There's two reasons why we're here today. First of all, is that you're number one that is doing this interview with us. In the past year, we started Markelitics, and now we're taking a step forward. And this is why we wanted you to be exactly the number one. First of all, we are friends. We know each other for so long time, and we really think that you're doing amazing and outstanding job in the outsourcing industry. And the second one is actually we have recognized and we wanted to award you for the great job that you have done. And that's why we're here today. Thank you for joining again on this interview. Can you tell us a bit more about Silverbell, how everything started, how you developed it, and what's the next steps for it?
Excellent. Stefan, thank you so much for the kind introduction. It's really a pleasure that in such a dynamic industry, me and you, we kept together our friendship and a business collaboration after more than 10 years. So to do an intro from my side, basically my background is investment banking. I used to live in England. I used to live in Cyprus. However, in 2014, I analyzed the market of Southeastern Europe and I made a decision that pretty much there's a lot of high quality individuals and very good talent potential in Serbia, which is still not addressed by the global market. And this is basically my focal point to open a company for outsourcing. Obviously at the start, it was just an HR company, so I wanted to make sure that first of all, we know how to select quality individuals. And then my second step after this one would be to make a training center. Financial markets, especially financial Fintech industry back in Serbia in those days, in 2013, 14, is quite undeveloped. So it was a lack of knowledge. However, I saw the drive and I saw there is a good potential to grow in that area. So basically the first training center was done by me personally. Obviously today we have more than 6 people just doing the training and academy.
How hard was it to do the first step actually and onboard the first clients that you had?
So we were like the UFOs in the markets in Serbia. However, we were really lucky enough that I already had a couple of connections globally that wanted to try working with us. We had a very good, nice regulated company from Ireland that was doing a lot in finance for a decade before that. And we started working with them, and this is how we gained our first knowledge. On the first show, basically, I was the one managing most of the employees, and I guess that by the perspective of an employee, we were considered as a UFO company in Belgrade, Serbia. We were the first one offering access to international financial markets. We were the first one teaching about financial technologies, what is PSPs, how the affiliation works. So we were considered back in those days, about 10 years ago, as a super cool employer. So we were just battling with the number of CVs that we got initially. So obviously this was a lucky strike. After years of trying, to put things together, I see that there was a good potential, and it was quite, simple after that to just increase the number of customers, to increase the knowledge, and of course, to keep the best talents with us. And I'm proud to say that today we have still more than a dozen employees that were with us since the first days of Silverbell Group.
Do you still see this trend like going forward in the future, or you think that it will be harder and it will be more obstacles on the way actually to perform as a company?
So basically a global market does recognize Serbia now as one of the key partners to have a quality labor force. First of all, the unemployment rate globally is quite low. Salaries are going up a lot. The competition is growing. Now, especially in Belgrade, Serbia, the unemployment rate is still at a good level that you can hire quality employees, that you can promote yourself as a good employer, and thus it's more stable to have your core organization here in Belgrade, Serbia. You never outsource the top management. You always outsource from bottom up. Basically meaning that for majority of the labor force from the lower and mid-level, you do need a partner which is reputable in the market. This is where Serbia comes along very perfectly. Now, obviously, in the last 10 years, the knowledge in market is very developed. At the start, we were just offering unexperienced employees. Now, I would reckon that with the number of clients that we had, we had more experience than certain companies because they have only internal knowledge. And we were the lucky ones that got all the knowledge from various companies, various vendors, and we can address the issue that some employers can utilize on us hiring people which work in different vendors, from affiliation, PSPs, from a tech, from obviously the brand point of view, and you have like one equipped person that can start right away. Now this access we provide in Silverbell Group.
So basically when we see it in Belgrade, you can find well-educated people with good knowledge, with great speaking coverage, meaning they can cover multiple languages, and then they're like a strong workforce which they're willing to develop and push more. This is amazing. And this is super strange that in the other countries it's not that recognized, and not other countries can provide this kind of service. What is the main countries that are your competitive, let's say it like that? Because I know that Ukraine was one of them, but after the war and all this problems that happen, I think they slowly started to shift from Ukraine.
So the focal point over here is the country stability, and I'm really proud to say that as a country, Serbia, in the last more than 20 years, we developed a very strong political stability. Now, what currently happens in the war between Russia and Ukraine brings instability to the northern countries in that area. Obviously, the Asian countries where they have low salaries, like Costa Rica, Philippines, the culture is so much different. So if you're European or any global, anyone working with Anglo-Saxon part of the world, you would always tend to hire people in Eastern Europe just because the cultural difference from Asian outsourcing countries, it's so different than the ones that we have here. Here, especially you should outsource with countries that are and companies that have like the street knowledge, which is super common in Serbia, that people are very street smart and they have a strong motivation to succeed. Whenever we had experience with companies working with with Asian countries, we always had this issue of cultural differences. Now, what you just mentioned over here is a crucial thing, that our employees, they come from either sales, customer support, digital marketing, or IT background. So what we offer is basically that the company can establish their own dedicated, exclusive remote team. It pretty much means that any single company globally can have their own dedicated office in Belgrade, Serbia, and we're going to be the ones legally responsible for the entire operation. Obviously, we're doing the payroll, hiring, firing, setting up the office, and management. Now, management is the topic that should be highly addressed whenever anyone thinks about outsourcing. The reason for it is that obviously you do need a strong local manager. However, a local outsourced entity or a business unit cannot work well without any of the participation from the client point of view. So the best deals that we had in our past are the ones when we receive a project manager coming from the client side, and then we put the project manager from our side, and then we build a team of sales. Obviously, as you mentioned, we offer more than 16 languages 24/7. So let's say you want to target European market, English, French, German, Italian, Russian, Spanish. You want to work night hours for Canada. You want to work Latin as well. So the variety of languages should be also managed by client side, and of course internally we do need to have a strong local manager just to keep the motivation up. At the end of the day, if the clients are selected perfectly and they're motivated throughout the day, there is zero chance of not being successful.
How would I would like our viewers actually to know the full process, of course shortly, from getting a client and setting up everything for the client. I think this is important for everyone to know, and I would like you to just break it down in points.
So the number one issue, obviously everyone looks for the quality, for everything to be financially suitable. However, the biggest obstacle whenever anyone wants to outsource is trust. Now, after 10 years, we wouldn't exist here today with 600 employees, having more than 30 companies outsourcing with us and working 16 languages 24/7. We wouldn't exist today if trust is not our number one priority. If ever you want to outsource, you need to make sure that the local partner is someone that you believe personally. So it's, forget about business to business, it's a face-to-face, and this is why I do not start outsourcing with our partners from, global industries unless we meet each other in person. They need to know that I'm standing in front of the operations. Now, as soon as we make a deal, I do need to understand what exactly is the goal for your outsourcing. We do need to understand what is the team structure we want to start with. The best examples, Stefan, they always start with baby steps. So hire like 3 or 4 employees just for us to build the trust, to get the knowledge, meet the company's DNA. Let's see how we can work together, because we need to follow you. This is your office, and I'm just making sure that you have another access of candidates in Southeast Europe that you have to decentralize, because it's more, it's a risk averse, then it makes sense on a long-term basis regarding growth. So obviously the first thing is to understand the team structure. Then my real estate team will find a segregated office for you only. Then we have our security team making sure that the cameras are in the office, there are security cards to enter it. Then we block all the PCs and so on. So the security is the topic number 2. The operation team from our side will assemble the office in tables, furniture, PC equipment, make sure we have an optic cable and backup system for that. Of course, we like to spoil the employees by having, all types of happy Fridays, coffees.
Which is important.
We want to, it is important to make sure that people see that it's professional environment they work with. Throughout this process, obviously, the teams of HR, in HR right now we have 22 employees. They have to do 4 rounds of interviews in order for us to be able to select the best candidates for you. If our clients want, they can always participate in the last round of the interview. And this is making sure that we are both the one making the decision which is the best candidate for you. Obviously, financial team and legal team, they're doing all the admin, all the international contracting between us, and we're the ones who are legally responsible for the employees. So our clients have unlimited hiring and firing. And then, obviously, if there is any change, we have to be flexible. Fintech that Markelitics is doing is super flexible, and we have to adapt. So we're offering to our customers flexibility. They can cancel a project at any point in time in future. Compared to any other outsourcing company, you have like a yearly agreements. There is like penalties for canceling. It doesn't work in our industry. In Fintech, we have to be adaptable. We have to be quick. And this is the reason why when we start, we want to make sure that you feel 100% confident that we can grow together. It's always better to start smaller and build upon.
I think the biggest obstacle here is that the company doesn't get the feeling that these people are their employees at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And this is the most important segment of this journey that these companies are doing together, I think.
Yeah, the main question is like, Marco, are these guys like my employees or they're your employees? No, they're yours. The reason for it is that I wouldn't feel comfortable outsourcing another country and they belong to someone else. So that's an agency model. Now, when you have like a segregated office in another country, which is just managed by another person in terms of HR, hiring, firing, legal, and payroll, it basically gives you an access. This is why I always love when clients come and visit us in Belgrade, Serbia, and you have your own desk, you make the rules, you make the shots, we're just the one which is putting all the burden off your shoulders to deliver it on a daily basis. Now, the best thing is whenever we start on the day one, we always have a big ceremony, with the balloons, just to make sure that employees feel it's a good thing to start. And this is where it's a crucial part that someone from the client's company comes for a visit, so that all of the employees sees who's actually the main boss.
You need to have the personal touch with the company.
Yeah, we need to have the personal touch. Exactly. So it's always best, again, to start small and then, build upon it.
Do you see a lot of fluctuations in terms of projects on your side? What kind of, let's say, what's your ideal client that you envision, for instance, and is there any in your company?
So how we differentiate, there are basically 2 types of customers, how they see us. The first one, it's obviously when you want to test a new market. Let's say you want to target French market. So you can hire French speakers internally because you internally consider this as a risk. You still don't know how it's going to turn out. So you would hire an outsourcing company like us just to test the market. If it works well, then fine. If it doesn't, we just shut it down. For us, this is a risky customer and we prefer not to do it. However, the second line of customers, they're taking us as their strategic partners. So let's say that we build trust together. They would send a manager over to Serbia, and then we collaborate in terms of coordinating our 2 companies together. Then it's in my best interest that I know that this customer is going to stay for more than a year, or we have customers for now which is 6-7 years with us, right? So they see us as their strategic partner, and then our customers, Stefan, they're usually not companies. Our customer is basically a serial entrepreneur with several ideas, and then he has friends that he wants to recommend to us. And then, he would have like IT positions, like Marco, I need 5 PHP developers, but I do need someone to do B2B sales, someone doing customer support. I do have a designer? Yeah, you have a designer. So it's a strategic thing. So top management will, and his, let's say, partners and crew will sit with him, wherever it is, like Canada, US, London, Israel, Zurich, wherever. And he would just outsource most of the labor force with reporting that we provide. He feels comfortable that we follow his entrepreneurial vision.
That's amazing. That sounds perfect. The next question that I have for you, I think is important, is how do you envision Silverbell in the next, let's say 5 years from this moment?
So we reached the numbers that we're always having some oscillation between 450 to 600 employees, depending on on the season, basically on the client's will. However, our goal is to stay fixed at 600 employees total.
Is there a reason behind it? Or
yeah. And by the way, we do have still always the fixed 55 people in my management. So I believe that in this way, we want to offer boutique approach. I need to make sure that I work with customers that I personally like, that I believe in, and that we can stay friends for the next 20 years from now. If we want to change our company strategy, for example, and go to 2,000 employees, of course our profit margin would be higher. However, I would lose that personal touch, and we would be working with companies like MasterCard, Lufthansa, and Coca-Cola, and this is not my entrepreneurial passion. So obviously, then it's a company to a company, conglomerate to conglomerate, and this is not my vision. My vision is to stay personal, to work with medium-sized companies, to have a very close personal relationship with the owner. And if I have 600 employees, it's still diversified enough that we are stable. It's still profitable enough that I'm super happy. And the way how we see our growth is just by filtering the quality of the customer so that we understand each other even better.
And this is the optimal number of employees that you can have in order to provide a super good service to your customers.
Yeah, so basically, if I don't provide quality service, I won't be able to sleep quality at night. So it has to be personal, it has to be professional, numbers have to go along, and I'm always staying in the client's perspective. If I'm in your shoes as a customer, right? Would I outsource with Silverbell if they have like 3,000 employees? No, I wouldn't. If they have 600, they have like 25 projects, then it makes sense that with a team of 50 people in management, they take care of me personally.
Exactly.
And then I feel comfortable, I build trust, and the world is full of a bunch of call centers in Costa Rica and Romania. They have like sardines sitting, agents doing sales, and then IT outsourcing is like, 1 out of the 200 employees going to work for you.
Yeah,
so what's the quality there? I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. I think what I have experienced, because I'm collaborating with you, I need to admit, in the past 2 years, let's say, we have offices here with you, and I'm super happy with the service that is provided. And I think the care that your people provide to my employees at the end of the day, it's amazing, and that's why they can perform. And I think this is the way how you actually pick your clients that you work with, which is super important, building that trust and gaining experience all together and developing further. It's amazing approach, which is something that I need to cheer for. I wanted to ask you, how do you think the fintech world will change in the future? Do you think something crucial will happen? For instance, let's say there is a lot of issues now with crypto. There is a lot of issues with the payment processing, which is Master and Visa. They're strengthening the rules. How do you see this part?
Wow, it's